I just lost a single strand of hair. The whole nation entered first-level alert out of nowhere. Because 49 demons are trapped inside my body. There's the ruthless Jack the Ripper, for one. And the inhuman cannibal Hannibal. Even the Hulk, who can rip aircraft carriers apart with bare hands. To keep all people safe, I locked myself up in a psychiatric ward of my own will. But my daughter went missing today. The cops have been searching for 14 days. And there's not a single clue. My reflection in the mirror opens blood-red eyes. Those useless losers can't find her. Let us out. We'll turn this whole world into a river of blood. I'm sitting straight on the floor of the Class S confinement cell. My back is straight as a pine tree. 3 alloy walls surround me. The 7 infrared monitoring runs non-stop. Sensor bombs disguised as fire hydrants make up the custom cage the country built just for me. If I step even half an inch outside the 10 square meter white zone, it'll blow up immediately. I twist a fallen black strand of hair between my fingers. No one understands why a single hair triggers national alert, because the 49 demon personalities inside me are forcefully bound to my body tissues. A falling hair means my mental shackles are loosening. It's the precursor to my personalities going rogue. The country implanted nanosensors inside my body. Once any signal from detached tissue is detected, the emergency command center thousands of miles away will sound the highest alert immediately. The second the hair hits the ground, a low buzz rings outside the confinement cell. I know perfectly well. The National Emergency Command Center has activated red alerts. Countless heavily armed soldiers are rushing to gather at the psychiatric ward deep in the mountains. They're scared of me, scared of the 49 demons inside me. The Skinner can flay people alive when fully conscious. The cannibal is strong enough to rip a tiger apart barehanded. And there's the monster that can tear apart aircraft carriers barehanded. If something goes wrong, half the world will fall into panic. To protect all living beings, I locked myself in this psychiatric ward with my own hands. It's been 10 whole years. I've kept a calm mind for 10 years, never let a single personality break through the shackles. Until 14 days ago, a call from the police station shattered all my self-restraint. My daughter, my only care in the world, is missing. Cops have searched for 14 days. Not a single trace found. I lower my eyelids. My gaze falls on the mirror on the opposite wall. That's a one-way mirror. People outside can see me, but I can only see my own reflection. But right now, the reflection has changed. On the face that used to look exactly like mine, a pair of blood-red eyes slowly open. Those useless trash can't find her. The reflection's lips move, the voice rough like sandpaper scraping against metal. That's Jack the Ripper's voice. Let us out. I, Lin Feng, don't respond. I just clench my fist tight. We'll make this world run red with blood. Those words are like a needle that pierces my last line of defense. I slowly lift my head and nod slightly at my reflection in the mirror. Click. The sound of the door lock turning echoes. The nurse is here to deliver meds on time. The thick alloy door opens a crack. The nurse in a white coat walks in holding a tray. His face wears that typical urban numb expression. He obviously doesn't take me seriously, as I've never caused any trouble in the past 10 years. He puts down the medicine bowl and turns to leave. The second he turns around, I know my chance has come. If I want to get out of the cell smoothly, forcing my way out is totally impossible. I have to use the personality that excels at disguise to fool him. So I actively guide my consciousness and wake up the first personality I need to use. First, my whole body convulses violently. My face turns deathly pale at a visible speed. This is the ability of the method actor personality. It can perfectly mimic the dying state of cardiac arrest. Help me, I say weakly, my voice barely audible. The nurse panics as expected. He rushes over quickly to check what's wrong with me. Now's the time. The weakness in my eyes vanishes instantly, replaced by icy sharpness. I twist my wrist and lock onto the nurse's neck perfectly. I slam my elbow hard into the back of his neck. A dull thud sounds. The nurse doesn't even make a sound and faints straight away. I yank off the nurse's white coat and put it on, then put on a face mask. I adjust my collar in front of the mirror. My reflection already looks exactly like the nurse. Even the height and build match perfectly. I pick up the tray, walked slowly out of the solitary confinement cell. The hallway was completely empty. Only security cameras rotated silently above my head. I walked straight ahead without glancing sideways. Just rounded the corner and bumped right into a heavily built man. It was the head of security. He glanced at me sidelong, his brows furrowed. How did you get out of there? The one inside? He didn't finish his sentence. I knew I couldn't let him keep asking questions. Fighting right now is a bad idea. It'll set off the whole facility's alarm immediately. I have to use a psychological persona to control him, so I switched my consciousness right away. Let the psychologist persona take over my body. I didn't say a word, just locked eyes with him firmly. At the same time, my lips moved slightly, uttered a few low syllables. Good. You should go to the lounge and get a cup of coffee. The head of security's eyes instantly turned vacant, like his soul had been sucked out. He mumbled to himself, "Yeah, I should go get a cup of coffee." Then he turned around, walked unsteadily toward the lounge. I didn't stop. Kept walking, followed the hallway to the end, pushed open an emergency exit door. Outside was the high wall of the asylum. It was 100 meters tall if it was an inch. The top of the wall was lined with electric fences and sentries. I glanced up at the security camera above me. I knew I had to get past this physical obstacle next. Regular climbing can never get me over this 100-meter wall. I need to use the persona with super physical strength. I immediately shifted my consciousness, woke up the persona that's good at climbing and jumping. Then I took a few steps back, surged forward with all my strength, ran straight toward the high wall. The second I got close to the wall, I jumped up with all my might. My body stretched out in the air, like a giant eagle spreading its wings. Tapped the wall lightly with the tip of my foot. Used the momentum to jump even higher. I was like an arrow shot from a bow. Flew right over the wall. The second I landed, I turned back to face the camera on the wall and slowly took off my mask. A pair of scarlet eyes glinted coldly in the sun. "I'm here to pick up my daughter," I said softly. Behind me, the asylum's alarm finally blared through the sky. I ran all the way, avoided all the security cameras, went back to that rundown little house in the old town. This is the home of my daughter and me. I pushed the door open, and a strong smell of dust hit me. The room was completely empty. Only a few pieces of worn-out furniture were left. A few patches of dried blood were still on the floor. They had turned dark brown. The police found the blood right here 14 days ago, then told me my daughter was missing. They searched for 14 days. Their final conclusion was she was suspected of being trafficked. The trail went cold. A bunch of useless idiots. I scoffed, then closed my eyes, took a deep breath. To find clues in this empty room, I need the persona that can catch microtraces. I immediately calmed down, woke up the detective persona. When I opened my eyes again, my gaze became extremely sharp. Like a high-precision scanner, this is the ability of the detective persona. It can catch microtraces that normal people can't notice. I crouched down and brushed my fingers lightly across the floor, checked every inch carefully. There's a super tiny scratch on the edge of the bloodstain. Looks like it was left by some kind of metal object. I followed the scratch and felt around, felt something in the gap under the sofa. A tiny metal object. It was a cufflink, made of pure silver, engraved with a hidden skull crest. There's a very faint crescent-shaped nick at the corner of the crest's eye. I twisted the cufflink between my fingertips. Knew I couldn't get useful info just from its appearance. I need the persona that's good at criminal psychology and class analysis. So I voluntarily switched my consciousness, woke up the criminal profiler persona. This persona knows human nature inside out, good at inferring the target's identity and class from tiny traces. Top custom handmade silver cufflink. Market price is at least 5 figures. I mumbled to myself. My fingers rubbed the pattern on the cufflink. The sandalwood scent is old Indian sandalwood. The cigar is a limited edition Cuban one. Someone who can afford both of these things is either rich or powerful. This place is shabbily decorated, yet such an expensive cufflink was left here. That means he deliberately hid his identity and came in disguise. Based on the distribution of bloodstains and the direction of scratches, there are at least 3 kidnappers who are very agile and skilled. I concluded they are professional mercenaries. The mastermind is a top tycoon or powerful figure in the city. I stood up, put the cufflink into my pocket, turned around and walked out of the small house. My destination was the underground black market. It's the only place that can trace the origin of this special secret cufflink. The underground black market is hidden on the outskirts of the city. Inside an abandoned factory, 2 burly men were guarding the entrance. Their waists were bulging, obviously hiding weapons inside. They stopped me as soon as I walked close. "What do you want?" The man on the left looked fierce and reached out to push me. I dodged sideways, curved my lips into a cold smirk, and said, "I'm here for someone." Before I finished speaking, the two men reacted like cats whose tails got stepped on, abruptly pulled out machetes from their waists, and swung them right at me. "You stupid dead meat." I didn't dodge. I knew to deal with this kind of brutal guards. You can only suppress them with absolute power. There's no need to waste time. So I quickly shifted my consciousness and awakened my personality with super combat power. I took off my white coat instead, revealing the black tight suit underneath. My bones made a series of loud cracking sounds. My muscles bulged instantly. My whole aura changed drastically, like a sleeping beast suddenly waking up. Berserker personality activated. My strength increased 10 times in an instant. The machete swinging right at me looked as slow as a crawling snail in my eyes. I reached out and grabbed the blade precisely. There was a crisp cracking sound. I broke the solid steel machete with my bare hands. The two men's pupils shrank sharply, their faces full of horror. I didn't give them time to react. I punched the left man in the chest with my left hand, grabbed the right man's wrist with my right hand, and twisted it hard. Screams kept coming one after another. The two men flew backwards, slammed heavily into the wall, and passed out. The noise was too loud, and soon alerted people inside the black market. Dozens of thugs holding steel pipes and machetes poured out from the factory and surrounded me tightly. They had vicious grins on their faces, staring at me like a pack of hungry wolves eyeing fresh meat. "Hey, kid, how dare you make trouble here?" The leading bald man spat on the ground, swinging his steel pipe very fast and powerfully. I didn't say a word, just flexed my wrists a little. The next second, I was like a bolt of black lightning, rushing straight into the crowd. Steel pipes swept towards me from all directions, bringing gusts of strong wind. I grabbed an oncoming steel pipe with one hand and exerted force suddenly. The steel pipe bent and deformed instantly. I threw the deformed pipe casually, and it hit a thug's knee accurately. Screams came one after another, but I didn't kill anyone. I just broke their joints, to make them lose the ability to fight back. In the whole fight, I moved around totally unopposed. In less than 10 minutes, all the dozens of thugs fell to the ground, wailing nonstop. I walked up to the bald man, bent down and grabbed him by the neck, lifting his whole body off the ground. "Take me to your boss." My voice was icy cold. The bald man was trembling with fear, nodding again and again. The black market boss was in the office at the deepest part of the factory, drinking with a woman in his arms. When he saw me walk in carrying the bald man, his face changed immediately, reaching for the gun under the table. I reacted very fast, threw the bald man right at him, and he hit the boss squarely. The pistol fell to the ground, making a crisp clattering sound. I slowly walked to the office desk, grabbed the black market boss by the hair, and pressed his face hard onto the desk. "Who does this cufflink belong to?" I held the cufflink in front of his eyes. My voice had no warmth at all. It's Zhao Tianhao. He's the richest man in the city, Zhao Tianhao." The black market boss spoke in a tearful voice. "I just run errands for him. Please let me go." I chewed on the name Zhao Tianhao silently. A cold glint flashed across my eyes. The night was as dark as ink. On the top floor of the most luxurious hotel in the city, a grand charity gala was being held. Men and women were all wearing expensive formal dresses and suits, wearing fake smiles on their faces, talking about the so-called charity causes, but it's actually just a social game for the rich and powerful. Zhao Tianhao is standing right in the middle of the banquet hall, in a tailor-made Italian suit. His hair is perfectly groomed. He holds a wine glass, chatting cheerfully with the politicians around him, with a warm and kind smile on his face. Looking exactly like a successful entrepreneur. No one knows that this supposedly philanthropic, richest man has so many dirty deals hidden under the table. I'm standing at the entrance of the banquet hall, wearing a suit I grabbed from the black market. The cut is perfect. It fits my body exactly. To sneak into the banquet hall without drawing attention and get close to Zhao Tianhao, I need to have the right vibe for the occasion. So I switch my consciousness, let the elegant gentleman persona take over my body. My back straightens instantly. My steps become calm and unhurried. My eyes are gentle. A perfect, soft smile tugs at the corner of my mouth. Every move I make carries a noble, elegant aura, blending in perfectly with the surroundings. No one suspects this unfamiliar face of mine. I walk slowly through the crowd. My leather shoes step on the smooth marble floor, without making a single sound. Everyone's attention is focused entirely on Zhao Tianhao. No one notices me, the uninvited guest. I walk up to the stage of the banquet hall, pick up the microphone, and clear my throat. The previously noisy banquet hall goes silent instantly. Everyone's eyes turn to me. Xiao Tianhao also stops talking, frowns and looks at me with a hint of confusion in his eyes. I give a gentle smile into the microphone, then reach up and take the black backpack off my shoulder. Clatter. A head rolls out of the backpack and lands on the dining table covered with a white tablecloth. It's the black market boss's head. The whole place goes dead silent for a second, then screams ring out across the entire banquet hall. The women look terrified out of their wits, panicking and running around everywhere. The men's faces go deathly pale, stepping back instinctively. The originally lovely and harmonious banquet turns into hell on earth in an instant. Xiao Tianhao's face instantly turns livid. He takes a sharp step back, barks sharply, "Bodyguards! Where are the bodyguards?" More than a dozen bodyguards in black suits rush out from the shadows, holding pitch-black pistols in their hands. All guns are pointed straight at me. "Catch him! Kill him!" Xiao Tianhao roars hysterically. The bodyguards pull the trigger without hesitation. Bang, bang, bang! Bullets whiz towards me, carrying deadly killing intent. The smile on my lips doesn't fade. I know to avoid the dense bullets and get close to Xiao Tianhao fast. I have to rely on extreme speed, so I switch my consciousness immediately and awaken the speedster persona. My body turns into a blur in an instant. Speedster persona activated. Time seems to slow down at this moment. The trajectories of the bullets are clearly visible to my eyes. I turn sideways, bend down, lift my leg. My movements are smooth and fluid. Every single move perfectly avoids the incoming bullets. Bullets graze past the corner of my clothes and hit the wall behind me, leaving deep bullet holes one after another. Under everyone's shocked gazes, I move like a ghost, passing through the dense rain of bullets, and appear right in front of Xiao Tianhao in a flash. I reach out my hand and grab his neck tightly, lifting his entire body off the ground. Xiao Tianhao's face turns bright red. He can barely breathe. His legs kick uselessly in the air. His eyes are filled with terror. He looks at me as if he's looking at a demon from hell. "Where is my daughter?" I lean close to his ear, my voice as cold as midwinter ice and snow. I don't know what you're talking about," Xiao Tianhao says with great difficulty. His eyes dart around. I tighten my grip slightly. The sound of bones grinding is clearly audible. The extreme pain twists Xiao Tianhao's face out of shape. He can't keep up the act any longer, crying and begging for mercy. "It's at the High Seas lab. I'm only in charge of transportation. The people above made me do it. Please let me go." "High Seas lab." A flicker of killing intent flashes through my eyes. My fingers tighten slightly, ready to snap his neck. Right at this moment, a sharp pain explodes deep inside my brain. It feels like thousands of steel needles are stabbing my nerves at the same time. The pain makes my vision go black. My body starts shaking uncontrollably. I let go of him. Xiao Tianhao hit the ground hard, coughing violently. The banquet hall fell into total chaos. The bodyguards had their guns raised but dared not take another step forward. I clutched my head and fell to my knees. Cold sweat kept pouring down my back. A cold, eerie voice rang in my ears. "Don't kill him. He's mine." I jerked my head up and looked at the huge reflective mirror on the banquet hall wall. My reflection was clearly visible in the mirror. But right behind me, a blurry dark figure was standing there for sure. The figure had the exact same build as me, but it exuded a suffocating sense of pressure. The figure raised its hand in perfect sync with my movement, a cold, bloodthirsty smirk tugging at the corner of its mouth. "I'm the pure evil inside your body, and also your 50th personality. You're not a hallucination." Every muscle in my body tensed up. Years of pain from dissociative identity disorder peaked right at this moment. The oppressive aura from this other me far surpassed any previous personality switch. A harsh sound like scraping metal drilled into my eardrums. I instantly recalled fragmented memories from the asylum. The icy cold of the operating table late at night, the sharp pain in the back of my head, and whispers around the glass purification containers. Those memories I once dismissed as delusional fragments were now cruelly piecing together into the truth. "You were the ones behind the asylum experiments." My voice was shaking. Rage overpowered all my fear. The dark figure walked over to the control panel, its fingertips brushing across the red button. Its gaze was full of contempt. "That's not all. Why do you think they kidnapped your daughter? He waved his hand to activate the holographic projection. On the screen, inside a high-precision cultivation pod, my daughter was curled up in light green liquid. Her little face was pale. Her eyes were tightly shut. The projection switched to a complex gene map. Next to my daughter's gene chain was the label Shadow Activator. The dark figure said mockingly, "Your body is the perfect vessel for the God Creation Project. Your 49 personalities are unstable energy sources. I'm the core that was deliberately separated from them. For me to reach my final form, bone marrow with matching DNA is needed as the key. Your daughter's bone marrow is the only matching sample." "You bastard!" Rage completely consumed me. My combat personality awakened instantly. I threw a punch at the dark figure, wind whistling around my fist. He dodged easily by stepping to the side and casually slapped a palm against my chest. A massive dark inky power pierced through all my internal organs. I flew backward like a kite with a broken string and slammed hard into the wall, shattering it. I coughed up blood. Every bone in my body ached and went numb. The gap between our strength was like an uncrossable chasm. There was no way I could fight against him. Just then, the lab's sharp alarm blared loudly. Red warning lights flashed wildly. The entire space shook violently. Behind the dark figure, Zhao Tianhao, who planned the kidnapping, walked out. He held a remote and grinned evilly at Lin Feng. "Thanks for helping us wake up Lord Number 50. This manor is full of explosives. The self-destruct sequence has been activated. You will all be buried with the Lord." A loud roar came from underground. The ground split open. Stones started falling down. My pupils shrank suddenly. I stared fixedly at the shaking cultivation pod in the projection. My heart clenched at the sight of my daughter. No, I roared and crawled toward the projection, but got trapped under the collapsing rubble. Broken stones hit my back. The severe pain made my vision go black. As my consciousness started to fade, my daughter's shrill, childish scream cut through the roaring noise and reached my ears clearly. That scream hit like a clap of thunder. Pain, anger, and despair merged into a raging flood, crashing against my mental barriers. All 49 personalities awakened deep in my consciousness. They used to fight each other separately in the past. But now they reached an unprecedented agreement and merged their powers for me. 49 voices roared in unison. My eyes were completely swallowed by darkness. Black veins spread from the corners of my eyes to my cheeks. My bones cracked loudly. My muscles swelled up rapidly. Wild, violent energy swirled around my body. The rubble kept collapsing. Huge boulders kept crashing down. I floated up into the air. Dark energy formed a huge whirlpool, sucking in all the surrounding broken rocks. My figure still kept a human outline through the transformation, but it exuded an inhuman, terrifying aura. Boom! The explosion's shockwave burst through the ground. The manor turned into a sea of fire and rubble. At the peak of the collapse, a black beam of light shot up from the center of the ruins. The energy shockwave sent all the huge boulders flying. The ruins exploded outward. Broken stones flew everywhere. I walked out of the smoke and dust. My body was several times bulkier than before. Black veins cover my entire body. My eyes are pitch black with no visible pupils. Tangible black evil aura swirls all around me. Every step I take leaves fine cracks on the ground. I've completely lost my mind right now. The forced fusion of 49 personalities brings world-ending power that also crumbles my mental defenses. I roar like an out-of-control beast and lunge at the surviving guards. Well-trained bodyguards are no match for me at all. Wherever the evil aura passes, sounds of breaking bones and screams rise one after another. Gunfire strafes toward me, and blade slashes can't hurt me even a little bit. They get shattered by the evil aura instead. In the middle of the chaotic killing spree, my daughter's faint but clear. Cry cuts through the energy field and reaches my ears. That wronged, terrified cry sounds like heavenly music and wakes up the last bit of clarity deep in my consciousness. A flicker of struggle crosses my dark pupils. I stop moving all at once. I stare at the remaining blood on my palm. Agony surges through my chest. My daughter. That vague thought is like a glimmer of light in the dark. I whip my head toward the direction of the open sea, the source of the crying sound. I dart like an arrow toward the manor's helipad. The armed helicopter there is about to start up and escape. After catching up in just a few steps, I grab the landing gear with one hand, yank the pilot out and throw him onto the ground. I don't even enter the cockpit. I hang outside the cabin with one hand and slam my other hand against the engine. Dark energy floods into it. The helicopter bursts out with power far beyond its limit and shoots straight up into the sky. Heading directly for the open sea, the helicopter moves at an amazing speed. Clouds zip past rapidly. I'm hanging outside the cabin. The evil aura flutters loudly in the wind.